Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me for today's action figure review video. So today we are going to be taking a look at a couple of figures. Now, they are figures I have had in hand for a couple of weeks, but I have been putting it off, or at least putting off this review video for a while. I don't know, man. Normally when I get these figures in, I'm like so excited to like hurry up and rush and make these review videos as soon as possible. But after the last review video, I just kind of been sullied on the idea of making any more review videos. And it's not so much that I don't want to be known as a review channel anymore. It's just, like I said, it's not even the criticism or anything like that. It's just, I've just been kind of turned off to the idea of doing these type of videos anymore. But yeah, these figures though, I like this line a lot. This line is enjoyable. Like I said, it's always been one of my favorite lines to collect. And the figures that we're going to look at today are a couple of the more enjoyable figures that the company has released in a while. So I'm really excited to kind of talk about them today. So the figures that we looked at the last time, and the kind of difference that we, when compared to like the last release, compared to this release, today we are going to look at the release of Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. Now, the difference between today's Series 10 release of Matt Cardona and Brian Myers compared to, let's say, the last release of the Blue Trunks Ric Flair and the Yellow Boots Dusty Rhodes. Here's the thing with those two figures that I talked about I didn't like. And I'll kind of recap for those who may not have seen that review video. In essence, you look at the Yellow Trunks Dusty Rhodes, or the Yellow Boots Dusty Rhodes, it's just basically the exact same figure that came out in Series 7. So, Yellow Boots, just same jet black elbow pads. I didn't even have the green that he had in the first release, right? It was inferior to the first figure, so I didn't like that. Simple repaint. The exact same figure. I didn't like it. Alright, Ric Flair. You had a Ric Flair in Series 3 with the all-clothing Ric Flair. Great. Then you came out with the Bloody Ric Flair. Alright. A second release with Ric Flair. That was fine. It was a ring gear Ric Flair. You had a second version Ric Flair. That's fine. But since then, you've come out with the red trunks Ric Flair. You've come out with the blue trunks Ric Flair. That's what I had issues with, is that you basically took that variant of Ric Flair. You released 3 versions of that particular Ric Flair, and you're releasing that exact same figure over and over and over again. And you're releasing them in sequential order, and it's a money grab. You're taking advantage of your loyal fan base. So that drove me nuts. I love this line, but come on. That kind of killed me. So, and I think that issue that I kind of brought up in my video pissed off a lot of people. But unlike that video though, this video, when we kind of look at, let's say, Matt Cardona, there are differences between the Series 1 release of Matt Cardona and Brian Myers compared to the Series 10 release of Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. First, I love the fact that they had the separation of releases, right? Huge bonus in my eyes. Going from Series 1 to 10, okay, awesome. You had that huge, separation, from series to series. Did you have to have that huge gap? Probably not. I mean, in all honesty, this is his company. To be with Matt Cardona, I honestly, if you want to have a Matt Cardona figure in literally every single series there is, I'm surprised he hasn't released his own Matt Cardona figure in every single series. It's his company. Why not put out a Brian Myers Matt Cardona figure every time out? I mean, why is there not a Mark Sterling figure every single time? I'm surprised that that's not happening. As long as there's a different figure, a new aesthetic figure each time, I'm okay with that. It's his company. He could do what he wants, right? So, but I do like the fact that they had a little of a break in between. That's amazing. The second thing that I really liked about this particular figure, if you kind of remember back in Series 1, both the Brian Myers and Matt Cardona figures, they both kind of had like that LJN Macho Man pose with, the hand, with the hands up, right? Or the open hand, exactly like Macho Man. But, like so. Kind of getting, again, a brand new mold, brand new figure, and much more aesthetic figure. And my buddy BBA, huge Matt Cardona supporter, huge Matt Cardona fan, he actually gave me a great detailed description of the sort of Macho King version of, this Matt Cardona, right? I really didn't follow, Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, right? So I don't know all of these late 90s, 2000s wrestlers. But the way that he kind of talked about, the like the bloody battles with Nick Gage and everything, I really should have filmed this on like a computer and had my cell phone for you guys. So I kind of read off the story for you guys. But the way he kind of described the bloody battles and everything, that was pretty solid history. And maybe I can kind of copy and paste that story into the comments for you guys, so you kind of have a brief history of this little gimmick right here. But this is really freaking awesome. I don't mind this at all. Kind of reminds you of like the Hasbro cowboy version of Macho Man, right? I mean, is it the most playable figure that I always covet? It's not, but aesthetically, it is fantastic. He comes with an absolutely amazing accessory with the removable crown. It's rubbery. It's sort of bendable, but I wouldn't put too much pressure on that. Yes, it is flexible, but like I said, you bend it too much, this thing can break. So you be very careful with how much pressure you apply to the crown. But aesthetically, this is a absolutely beautiful, beautiful figure. All right. I would probably say that the Matt Cardona figure from Series 10 is probably in my top 10 of favorite Big Rubber Guy figures. The overall aesthetic or design of the figure in trunks and knee pads, absolutely gorgeous, okay? If you want to use this as a playable figure, for those adults who are wrestling these or creating videos with wrestling matches, or if you are a parent, you're buying these figures, you're giving them to your kids, or, if you're just an adult collector, but you're still letting your kids, take these off your display stands and letting them play with them as needed, it still does have a sort of playable pose and whatnot, so it's still a usable figure. So, graphical design throughout, amazing. Okay. Because he's a very vertical figure, he's a little bit more, slim, but very few things about this figure that I would complain about. Finger pose, how I always have a complaint about the finger pose, whether it's the index finger, thumbs up, whatever. But Macho Man, he used to always go to the top rope with the finger up right before he dropped the elbow. So I'm not surprised to kind of see, with the whole kind of mimicking the Macho King gimmick, right? I'm not surprised to see the whole Matt Cardona with the whole Macho King finger up idea. So overall, I want to say perfect figure based on my credentials, but for the big rubber guys, based on their line, yeah, this is for a perfect in my eyes. And absolutely gorgeous championship belt. I am loving the fact that big rubber guys are coming out with their own championship belts. Lately, they've come out with a lot of really amazing belts. So far, I don't know, what was it? Was it an NWA belt? Or, I think it was NWA, if I'm not mistaken, for the King Harley race. So far, the Harley Race Championship belt was probably the greatest championship belt I've ever seen. So, the Harley Race, you got to get that figure just for the belt itself. The big gold belt from the Blue Trunks, Ric Flair, you got to get that figure just for that belt. Is it the best belt ever? Probably not. But the big gold WCW belt, NWA belt, yeah, it's a must-have. I like this sort of design right here. I mean, it's not the most flashiest belt ever, but it's another championship belt to put on your figures. So, it's enjoyable. And, again, because this is not a time I've been watching wrestling, right? So, kind of going off the information that BBO was Bone Breaking Action was talking about. I guess he kind of created some kind of like spinner belt for the figures, and I guess that's where John Cena kind of initiated the spinner belt and everything. So again, I'm kind of trying to go off memory of what I read based on the notes that he provided, and this is incredible. This says Internet Champion. That is so good, man. I like that a lot. Yeah, but Matt Cardona, this was incredible. And then we got the Brian Myers figures. So for those guys out there who are new in package, mint on card collectors, when you start getting these figures in the mail, cut off a small piece of tape. You're going to have to start taping a little small piece of tape on these belts to start keeping them in place. With the, same thing with the crown. Put like a little small piece of tape right above here or something so that the crown doesn't, because these do not stay in place. Every time you move the belts, they come loose. They're all over the place, right? So you're going to have to start taping that stuff in place. Not taping the whole thing down, just put, like I said, a little small, tiny piece of tape just to make sure that stuff doesn't move. And I might have to actually go back and kind of do the same thing with the other packages. But you put like a little tiny piece of tape up here and on the bottom. I love the fact that not only do they give you another championship belt, but 2 pieces. Incredible. Includes 2 official TNA World Tag Team Championship title belts, or championship titles. So Brian Myers back in Series 1 came with the white singlet, and this time he comes with the black and green singlet. So absolutely amazing. And Series 10, I don't remember if the Macho Man figure, if this actually was part of Series 10 or if that was Series 11. I want to say Series 10 because... Actually, no, I don't remember. I know Bad News Brown was part of Series 11, and... Yeah, I have to assume that Macho Man is part of Series 10, because why would they show that with these 2 guys, but not show like Bad News Brown and the other guys, right? If he was part of the Series 11 crowd, right? So, but I'm kind of disappointed. If he is part of Series 10, why would they release these 2 figures but not the Macho Man? So at some point, we are going to have to do another review to complete the rest of Series 10, if that's the case. But I have to go through the notes and the orders and kind of see, make sure we got all the series complete. The other thing that I really like, again, both Brian Myers and, as I said, both Brian Myers and Mike Cardona, they both kind of had that, hands up fighting pose, the same way as the original LJN Macho Man. And I'm kind of curious why they decided to use Macho Man as their, maybe he was their favorite wrestler from childhood. Maybe. I probably would assume maybe one of them would have been like Hulk Hogan fighting pose, maybe the other Macho Man or something, as opposed to like both of them using Macho Man. Or maybe Macho Man was just simply the easiest pose to use, and they wanted to see how well the figures sold, and then realizing, hey, their figures were selling like hotcakes, and hey, yeah, we got something here. And so they were able to kind of expand, and when they came out with Series 2 with Demolition, were able to create more with the accessories and changing body poses, etc. So, and kind of move on from there. So, was it Jeff? No, Jeff Hardy had the face paint. So Matt Hardy back in Series 8 with the much wider body. Now, usually when you have your arms spread out like so, it kind of gives you the more horizontal, wider body. So I do kind of like these arms separated like so. The only issue is when the arms are spread too far apart, it kind of gives you that LJN Tito Santana fighting pose. And as you guys know, the Tito Santana LJN is one of the worst playable wrestling action figures known to man. Just one of the worst action figures ever made, period. So if they actually raised these arms up higher, right, kind of gave you more of a Big John Studd LJN or, Sid Vicious Galoob type of fighting pose, it would have been absolutely perfect. Now, because of the wingspan of that Matt Hardy figure, the Matt Hardy figure was actually really solid. Again, one of probably the top 10 best big rubber guy figures. Brian Myers is not a bad figure at all. I would still say that this is probably, if not a top 10, maybe one of the top 15 best big rubber guy figures. Series 10 big rubber guys absolutely knocked it out of the park. Absolutely incredible. Is the overall design all of that? I like it a lot. I really do. The black and green really work well together. And they do add extra graphics, throughout the figure to really make it pop a lot more, okay? So, does it give you all of that extra detail like Matt Cardona with all the extra graphics and designs? Probably not. But there's enough on this figure to make it a very important piece. And head mold looks absolutely incredible. Play pose is solid. You could use this figure whether you're a kid, if you're an adult. Again, there are a lot of adults out there who make, again, these little wrestling videos, and again, I don't know what the channels are called. I hear people use the initials PWC and stuff. I don't know if there's any other initials, but they actually have actual YouTube videos, YouTube channels where they have actual wrestling channels and stuff. And I've come across a few of them I've watched in the past as well. But this is a solid wrestling figure. So whether it's simply for display or an actual usable wrestling figure, incredible. And like I said, 2 tag team title belts. And these are insanely good. These are TNA. Again, I don't follow AEW, TNA, or any of those other stuff, right? So I don't know anything about these alternate companies of WWF, i.e. WWE, but these are incredible. I love the offshoot with the red and with the silver mixed in. I mean, these are amazing. It says World Tag Team Champions, TNA in the middle. Got the TNA off to the side with like the Earth right off on the side here. Then you got the Earth in the middle with the TNA over the side. So these are beautiful, gorgeous championship belts. Good, strong, thick rubber. Now, obviously, I am going to belt these guys now that the review is kaput. He is way too thin for these belts, though. Just now that the belt is on him, yeah, he is way too thin. Look at all of this. Look at all this gap. I mean, I could fit an entire finger under there. Yeah, I have like all the way to the end, and it's super loose. I don't know, man. I could probably put one of these belts on the new Dusty Rhodes figure. Now, generally, when I belt my figures, I like to put belts on characters where they actually earn them in real life. But I mean, like you saw my video yesterday, right? My Series 3 LJN review video, and you saw like a tag team, a Brown Championship belt put on Don Morocco. So generally, a lot of my LJNs, I would just put random championship belts on, just random figures, just so that I would have all of my figures belted. So, or my Hasbro Ric Flair, where I would have a women's championship belt on him, because I would have one of those stupid laminate Velcro belts, which are horrible, but I have so many of them, and he was like the only figure that was thin enough to actually be able to fit a women's tag team belt on. So you don't always have the right belt on a particular character. So I mean, if this is wide enough and he's skinny enough to fit this on, you know what? Why not? But guys, that will take care of this video. A little over 23 minutes. As always, thank you so much for watching. This was a fun review. These are really good figures. Major Bendies, I don't know if they're still available. And if you do get the opportunity to buy them on a secondary market, they shouldn't cost that much. If you win them on auction, they should probably only hover around $50 to $65. Again, they shouldn't sell for a fortune or anything. But they might still be available on Major Bendies for around $50. I would also try Ringside Collectibles. They might be available there. But that's it for now, guys. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys in the comments and see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.